Hello, everyone, and welcome to MeowMix, the Carolina Panthers podcast. My name is Steven,
My name is Jerry.
and we're here to talk week something.
Yeah,
Week 13, week 14. I don't know. We
something
got
in the
four or
teens.
five games left. Uh, the season is coming to a close, and
Mm.
we're hoping that we end on a strong note. The last couple of weeks have been a lot of fun, even though they've been losses.
It's
I don't
given
know.
hope. It's given
Yeah.
hope on the team. You see the growth that after the first few weeks you really wanted to see from this team. I feel like Dave Canales has shown an ability to call some really good games and good plays that
Mhm.
set his receivers open. I was thinking about this earlier today. Sidetrack here, but I don't think in the past like 3 or 4 years I've ever seen a receiver catch the ball wide open and have room to run. And I've seen it like 3 or 4 times in the past like 3 games.
Yeah.
Like Adam Thielen just wide open and has 20
Yeah.
yards to run. Stuff like that. Just we didn't see that anymore.
Yeah, well, I'm sure it's happened, but I can't remember too many of them. But yeah, I was reading earlier today that Bryce over the last couple of weeks has 9 big time throws, which I don't know if that's a PFF stat or what, but um, more than anyone else in the last 2 weeks. So, he's obviously doing something right, and we're seeing the big plays on the field. We're seeing some just incredible touch from him, great passes, pocket presence, all those things that we didn't see last year and that or didn't see a lot of last year and certainly didn't see to begin this year. We're starting to see.
Yeah.
And like you said, it gives hope. I mean, that's so much more than we that we have had over the last several years, right?
Yeah, the past 2 weeks I have seen the Bryce Young I expected out of college. That I was
Yeah.
excited to be on this roster. Nothing has been like Superman. I'm not expecting him to be Peyton Manning or anything, but just some nice decisions, accurate throws, anticipation, and that's what I'm getting from him. Now, I'm hoping he eventually can take over a game and just, destroy a team's back, but hey, he's led 2 fourth quarter drives to take the lead. What in
Yeah.
two
I,
weeks?
I mean, and last week should have been a win, right?
Absolutely.
7 different ways, like should have been a win.
You could look at
Uh,
Kansas City and say that should have been a win, but
I would say that could have been a win,
or could have been a
right?
win.
For sure.
Hmm.
Definitely could have been a win. But last week, definitely, I mean, that was everything but the final score. Like,
Yeah,
that was a win.
they dominated
Um,
that game.
yeah,
The
yeah,
Bucks got lucky to get a win, in my opinion.
for
It's
sure.
just
For sure.
as a Panther fan, I've seen us get lucky with wins. So
Yeah, yeah. But yeah, I mean, the season is coming to a close. We've got Philadelphia this week, which we're going to talk about here in a little bit. But
do we have to?
this one, we've had a couple of really nice weeks here. I would just say if this is a regression or appears to be a regression, I'm not going to freak out. I'm
Oh,
not
I
going to
am.
freak out. This is a tough team that we're playing against. So I'm not going to freak out, but we will talk about that here in a little bit. But we kind of wanted to talk a little bit today as our kind of non-preview discussion about these rookie pass catchers.
Yes.
Specifically Legette, Coker, and JaTavion Sanders. Um, and just kind of what we think the future might be for these guys. So, Jerry, this was kind of your thought here. Where do you want to start?
I was just I kind of mentioned this because we didn't have a topic, but I was thinking about it in my head. I was like, man, we really have three pass catchers that are primed to be our starters for the next 3 4 years. I don't, and Coker may not be the number one, number two guy, but he's going to be a integral part in my eyes. He looks like at least a good slot type of guy, a third receiver. I think Lee
Yeah.
Gap. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
Well, I was just gonna say with him, I think he's the one that I guess I know the least about,
Mm-hmm.
right? And we've really only seen maybe a couple 3 games from him where he's had the opportunities, right? Where he's, without Deontay Johnson here, without Jonathan Mingo here, right? And he's been healthy. So we haven't seen a ton of from him, but he's also the one I think that probably has the highest ceiling, maybe.
I still think that's Legette. Yeah. I think Legette, with his size, his speed.
Yeah, you're probably right.
I think there is a reason why, as raw as he was, even though he had a great senior season, there's a reason why he was taken in the first round or expected early second. Like, that was
Does Coker feel more polished to you at this point? Okay. Maybe that's what it is.
He has a better route tree, and he's a better route runner than Legette. And honestly, I feel like he has better hands right now, but that could just be...
I don't think there's any debate about that.
Well, I think
Legette might have the worst hands on the team right now.
He drops one pass a game.
A game? And it's always a big one. It's always one.
It's always a deep pass
in a great spot for him, and he just goes through his hands or gets taken out of his hands. I like Legette a lot, and I'm rooting hard for him. He's got to figure out how to catch the ball.
Yeah,
consistently.
And I think he will, just because I think I mentioned this on this podcast. I really think he has the want that I don't see other players typically have. Now, with Coker, it's more of I'm a very good route runner. I get open by route running. I'm not a speed demon. I mean, he's fast. He could easily beat you or I together in a race. I mean, it's just...
Oh, of course. He's a professional football player.
He runs a 4.57 40. I mean, that's
what he ran at the combine.
Yeah,
right?
that's
like, he seems to play. He seems to play faster than that.
Yeah. I agree. I think he does run a little bit faster than that, but I don't expect him to be that speedster. But I think he can really, when Adam Thielen kind of goes on, I think he could be a very nice type of guy to fill that type of role. Good hands, good route runner, be able to get you some good dirty yards.
Yeah. Jerry Rice ran like a 4.5 40. So,
yeah,
speed's not everything.
Best wide receiver in the game of all time.
Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, Coker just being kind of the diamond in the rough, they found him on the, undrafted pile. People were very excited when the Panthers brought him in.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't really know much about him at all, but he kind of shined in training camp a bit when he had his opportunities.
Mm-hmm.
And now that it seems like he's going to play this week. I'm really excited to see him back out there. Honestly, I think he adds a very reliable set of hands to this receiving core that they seem to desperately need right now.
I'm gonna say, I was very disappointed in the fact that David Moore kept dropping passes, because I was like, Coker could have got those.
Yeah,
like David Moore does add something. I feel weird saying that, but he does add something to this roster.
David Moore for no reason.
I do. I really don't like him as a player. But
I don't understand why.
But that being said, I do think Coker could have made some of those catches. And I think he's primed to have a decent game. I hope they don't. The problem was they targeted him one game like 10 times, and it was like, that's a little too much right now.
Yeah, I mean, there are going to be games like that, right? But yeah, I mean, hopefully he's back this week, and he is listed as a full participant practice, so I imagine he'll be back. But yeah, those two guys, he and Legette, assuming that they, have a hard off season where they can really get on the jugs machine, Legette, and work out with Bryce quite a bit, maybe get some timing stuff down, just get to know each other, right?
Mm-hmm.
It really feels like next year could just be a huge year for one or both of those guys. 1,000-yard season for either of them is not nearly out of the question, right?
No.
I mean, in fact, I would maybe be surprised if neither one of them got 1,000 yards next year.
Me neither. And the thing about it is, I feel like either one of them could become that one. And I also think both of them could easily be a solid number 2. Now, if we get 2 solid number 2s, okay, that's not as great and happy. But let's be honest, this team hasn't had that in a while either. So
I don't think we've. Yeah, I mean, even Adam Thielen last year, like on many teams, would have been like a number 3, a slot receiver, right? On a lot of teams, and it was our number 1 by far. So just we've come a long way from that from last year, right? It feels like it would be better if Legette was that number 1.
Oh,
right?
100%.
Like, just because he seems to have more. There are more options with him. It feels
physically,
like
he's a better player. Like physically, he's a better person.
he's a better specimen.
Yes,
for sure.
thank you.
Yeah,
like faster, stronger, taller. Like
yeah.
But with Coker, it's more route running, savviness, and on his routes, the good hands. Like it's weird. I'm actually looking up draft profiles for Coker because you're right. We never really touched on it, and most of the things is subpar after catch dynamics. May struggle to step up his game, considering he played at a lower level.
Yeah.
Stiffness in press coverage that could be exploited with physical NFL corners. I get that, and that's stuff that you could work on.
Sure.
Lacks explosive separation. Often relies on route running to get open. Again, that's
Okay. I feel like with Bryce, assuming Bryce can get to where he can operate at that peak level most of the time, Coker is exactly the type of receiver that will flourish with a precise quarterback who can know where you're going to be. And if you're going to run those routes precisely, from what we've seen the last couple of weeks and from what Bryce was drafted as.
And what he's produced with Adam Thielen, he knows where he's going to be.
Yeah. I mean, we've seen it just in the last couple of games, not only with Thielen, but with other guys as well. Bryce is thrown to a spot, and those guys are either able to get there or they're not able to get there. But with a guy like Coker who you can trust to run those reliable routes and has good hands, he could be deadly with Bryce, honestly. It could be a really, really good combination, especially if Coker can be that number 2, right? Or even like a high-end number 3 if they end up drafting someone next year or going free agency and bringing in a true number 1 or something like that. Coker's going to be a weapon. I think he's going to be here for a long time and just a really good find.
I do too. I really like that. I know people called for it when we signed him, and in the preseason people kept calling for him, and I just maybe because I was burned so many years in a row by the undrafted guys that I was just like, no.
Well, how often do they really work out? Especially
a
guy that that we're talking about has potential to be the number 1 receiver on this team. Like that never happens.
Yeah.
Very rarely. Very rarely.
But
the guy really go ahead.
I was going to say he has really shown out. Like I was looking, he only has 17 receptions for 263 yards, but I feel like that was in 3 or 4 games.
Right. Like he hasn't had much of an opportunity to play. So he's really just now, and then he got hurt as he was starting to get some momentum. So I think the rest of the season, assuming he stays healthy, he'll easily double that stat line, but over these next 4 or 5 games. But the guy I really want to talk about.
Oh, we know who it is.
The one that I've been searching for my whole life.
Dreaming at night. A nice tight end.
JaTavion Sanders. That is not his middle name.
I was like,
as far as I know.
You're just adding Jamiroquai because it sounded cool.
It does sound cool. JT Sanders, man. Like, again, another guy who kind of took a little bit of time to get started. But over the last few weeks, until he got hurt, unfortunately, he was really coming on. Like, he had like an 80-something yard performance. He had a 60-something yard performance. He had 49 on the game. He got hurt, I think, in the first half. So, like, he's slowly starting to step up. And he and Bryce likes throwing to him, right? Yeah. Like, he's making tough catches. Bryce will just kind of throw it up there, and JT he'll high point the ball. We've seen it a couple of times now, where JT is almost, I wouldn't say bailing out Bryce because Bryce is throwing a great ball, but a lot of times those balls are not caught. I mean, we
Mm-hmm.
see it on our own team, right? And he seems to always come down with it.
One thing I do like is in those type of situations where the play breaks down, I've noticed that those two seem to be on a very similar page of what,
Mm-hmm.
or maybe it's Sanders realizing what Bryce's wants, and he seems to be getting into that soft spot of the defense. And
Yeah.
just so Bryce throws it up, JT can track it with no one that much near him, grab it, and then keep going.
Yeah. I've always felt like the best teams, or the best offenses at least, have a good safety valve tight end. I mean, the best teams have the tight end that is also, your one or two receiver, right? But just having a guy that Bryce can trust if he gets in trouble, or a
Mm-hmm.
big body that Bryce can throw to, and he knows that it's either going to be caught or the defender's not going to be able to get to it, right? Um, Having that is such a bonus for Bryce and any quarterback. And the fact that they do have that chemistry that you're
Mm-hmm.
talking about already, man, I mean, I think the sky is the limit for him.
Yeah, I was gonna say I also feel like all the big teams have that tight end that also yes is a very good hands and stuff like that,
Mm-hmm.
but also occasionally breaks off a 40, 50 yard play.
Yeah,
Like not all the time, not every week or something, but like once
sure.
every 3 or 4 weeks you'll see somebody busting a big play out.
Yeah.
I
And
mean,
he proved that in college he could do that.
yeah.
And we've even seen it here a few times.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I was saying. Like, tell me another player, another tight end we've had that you could think of had a couple big plays in a season besides
I mean,
Greg Olson.
other than
like,
Greg Olson,
yeah, like
um, they're if you want to go way back to like Wesley Walls, but even he wasn't a
exactly. That's what I'm saying.
that
Like
type of game breaker, right?
that's what I'm saying. He has that potential
Yeah.
to become a great tight end. Again, since Greg Olson, because Greg Olson was a beast and made those plays.
Yes, yes, of course, and but coming from where we've come from since Greg Olson left, like
Mm-hmm.
we've had nothing right at that position in terms of consistency, in terms of game breaking ability. Now we saw Tommy Tremble last week do a couple of things that was nice to see, and if Tommy Tremble can be, you know, even just a 40-yard receiving guy with his potential blocking ability, he would be a good asset to keep around. I mean, I'd love to have him as a number two tight end if he can be that guy every week. But Sanders legitimately, I think, has the ability to be the top tight end in the league in a few years. Once you've got your Kelsey and you get Brock Bowers out there, who's just kind of in a league of his own right now in
Dude,
terms of
Brock Bowers. Whoa.
rookies. Yeah, in terms of really anybody. But yeah, I mean, he's really good. But I could see Sanders, having that same type of impact in a couple of years. Again, he's much more raw than
Yes.
Bowers, but I think he's just got something, man.
He could be a top 10 tight end in this league in a year or
Easily,
two.
easily.
Like,
Yeah, I
that,
think top 5 is not anywhere close to out of the question.
like I feel like he's already third in the league in yards on this team right now.
Yeah,
I mean, it's
and
still
again,
weird.
another guy that kind of took a while to get started and
Mhm.
really didn't get a lot of opportunities until lately.
Correct. And it's just it's funny. His number 2 is Deontay Johnson, and realistically, once he kind of left the team, and yes, he was suspended for not going into the Baltimore game for them today. So,
Philly game, yeah.
as I didn't like that trade, it may have benefited this team.
I don't think there's any question. It definitely seems to have benefited this team. I mean, number one, he obviously didn't want to be here. Like that's come out, right?
Mhm.
Didn't want to be here. Wasn't seemingly. I think was it Joe Person? I think maybe tweeted today, or Darren Gant, or somebody with knowledge of the team. Basically tweeted out that he practiced when he wanted to, and he just wasn't really engaged here. That seems to have followed him to Baltimore. And this guy is on a contract year. Like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
What are you doing? But
And,
yeah, since he's gone, things have opened up for guys that want to be here and that want to get better
yeah.
and want to be part of this rebuild and be part of bringing the city back something they can be proud of.
Yeah. I've mentioned this about Legette over and over again because he wants it. You could
Mm-hmm.
see it. I mean, I'm not the biggest fan of how everybody loves his voice and his accent and stuff like that, but I love when he comments like
Yeah.
how much he wants it. You could tell. Messaging Bryce after a drop pass that night saying I'm sorry. You
Yeah.
know, messaging Bryce as soon as he was drafted saying, "Hey, when can we get together and start working?" Stuff
Yeah.
like that's awesome. Like
Oh
that
yeah.
guy wants it, and I think he's going to become something special here because of that.
I mean, you can honestly just you could just look at him without a shirt on and know he cares. Right? He cares about being strong. He cares about he looks the part. Like and he does act. He acts like he cares.
Yeah.
And I know that, I don't want to call you out, Jerry, but there's been some question as to whether he's putting on a little bit with some of the accent stuff and maybe some of the I
I
can't
am
wait to
fine
go eat
admitting
raccoon
this.
for Thanksgiving
Exactly.
dinner, right?
I have no problem, and I think if he's leaning into that persona to make himself a little bit of money later on, Rob
Mhm.
Gronkowski played up the dumb jock type of attitude because from what I hear, he is a dumb jock, but he's also a very smart dumb jock. And he played that role
Yeah.
and made himself extra money on that side.
Yeah.
Dion
Yeah.
the same way. Dion primetime,
Yeah.
that was kind
Well,
of
he's a showman for sure.
yeah, and he played it up to make more money,
Yeah.
and he did. There's nothing wrong with that. I think
No.
he plays it up a little bit extra, and
Yeah. Well, we've had people on this team before who have, played up being a showman
yeah,
and have been very successful. Cam Newton comes to mind, right?
yeah,
I think Legette is, I honestly think he's pretty genuine. I could maybe a few things like, we're gonna go cook the raccoon up for
yeah.
Thanksgiving dinner. Like that seemed a little much. Although I did look it up and apparently, they taste like chicken. Go figure. But as long as his show doesn't get in the way of the team or he doesn't start putting himself above the team, and I don't think he will. He doesn't
No.
seem like that kind of guy. Then honestly, it's a bonus, right?
Yeah.
Because he's a lot of fun.
Yeah, I wasn't calling him fake. I just said
No,
I
didn't
think he
you
was
were. I didn't
playing
think you
it up a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hey, I'm getting a lot of attention for the way I speak and my
Yeah.
dollar bill horse and stuff like that. Like, okay, I get it. I would do.
I think he's just a character. I think he's just a fun character.
And maybe he is. And I
yeah.
could be off base on my quick thought of him playing it up. We'll know in the future.
I haven't really seen anything like him speaking normally, right? Like just having a normal conversation with someone. Like every time he talks, it's that tired thing, dear. It's that very like deep South, almost Cajun, type of accent. But he's great. I love him, and I can't wait to
Oh yeah, he's.
keep watching more of him.
I'm
Yeah.
so excited for him. I love his want. I love what I think he can become. I mean, he's almost at 400 yards right now receiving. Once he gets those drops under control, I think him and Bryce can have a very good combination.
Yeah, agreed. I'm excited about it. But yeah, I mean, so question for you is, do you think the Panthers need to target a wide receiver early in the draft, as in first 2 rounds, or do they need to go after a T. Higgins or one of these big names in the wide receiver market coming up next year? Or are you happy, drafting someone in the 4th round, hoping to develop him, maybe find another diamond in the rough as an unrestricted or an undrafted free agent, and roll with the guys we've got?
I hate saying I would love to get a speed receiver. That being said, I don't think going in the first round to grab a guy is the greatest move.
Yeah.
But if they absolutely love a guy and they see a guy and they say, hey, he's special. He's the, that type of Marvin Harrison Jr. I'll call him that because I still think that guy is just a super phenomenal type of player that's going to bust out. If you see that guy, I get it. I get it because Coker and Legette aren't proven. And if you think that guy's an absolute home run, yeah, go for it. But other than that, I would say just go for a speed guy. That's one thing we do need. Legette's fast. I think he ran a 4.2. But we need somebody that blows the top off the other team. And even though I said he ran a 4.2, I believe, Legette, he plays like a 4.4-4.3 guy, and he plays with a big body. So
yeah, I think I don't remember if it was a 4.2 or a 4.3. Either way, it was really fast. I mean, he's one of the faster receivers out there, especially for his body type. Just ridiculous. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think that they should go for a wide receiver. Not in the first round. Sorry, just hit the microphone. Not in the first round. I think the first round needs to be reserved for an edge rusher, especially if they have a top 6 or 7 pick. And if not, then you start looking at some of the other positions of need before wide receiver in the first round. But if there's a guy in the second round who maybe should have been a first rounder and falls, or for whatever reason, a guy they really like that's available, I wouldn't mind that at all. And I wouldn't mind them going out and spending a little bit of money and bringing a guy in, because I think the more weapons you can put around Bryce, the more reliable hands you can put around Bryce, he's just going to continue to get better. Assuming we continue to see the trajectory he's on continue through the rest of the season. I think that they should shore up that a little bit. You're going to lose Thielen, most likely.
No, I think he has one more year.
I think he has one more year under contract. But I think it's...
Why would you get rid of him?
Well, I mean, he makes a lot of money. And if they're wanting to go young...
How much money do you think he's making?
I think isn't he making like $10 million or something?
I mean, for a receiver, that's dirt. He's not a running back.
Let's see. He will make, so there's a potential out next year. His cap hits, it's only 8.4.
That's a steal for a guy who could give you 50 to 100 yard or receiving receptions.
He'll be 35 next year. That's getting up there.
I still say you keep him for $8.5 million. That's a no-brainer. He hasn't shown that he can't run a route. That's his bread and butter.
I'm just saying it's possible that he will not be here next year.
It's possible.
There's only a difference of about $3.5 million if you cut him versus what his dead cap is. So you're really only saving like $3.5 million. For that, I think you should keep him. He's certainly worth $3.5 million. But I think it's also possible that they extend him and spread that money out a little bit. I mean, they give him a year extension.
Dead cap $3 million at the end. That neither
$15 million
he's not going to go
2-year deal, something like that. Yeah, but I don't know. We'll see. But either way, he'll be another year older. He did miss significant time this year with an injury. Those are things that you have to think about.
Yeah. Real quick, free agency is not great. Stephon Diggs, T. Higgins, we mentioned. Keenan Allen, Amari Cooper, Chris Godwin, Brandon Cooks. Like, everyone's pretty old and nothing like really great out there. So,
yeah. Maybe if you could get if Godwin comes back healthy.
Yeah, he's 28, so that's not bad. I think he would be a nice fit to be that type of guy, that number one, but you have Legette and Coker there too.
Yeah. And there's also trade possibilities. Like, it doesn't have to be only a free agent signing, but yeah, cool. Well, let's take a quick break and then we'll come back and talk Eagles Panthers.
And we are back. And it is time to discuss week so and so, as we neither one of us remember, and it's too late to care.
Week 14. Week 14.
Week 14
I
against the
confirm.
Philadelphia Eagles.
Yes. So the Panthers don't officially have an injury report up on their website, or unofficially. There's no injury report for this week up on the Panthers website.
Going incognito.
I did find like a Philly, an Eagles blog that has at least a partial list, so we're gonna look at that. So for the Panthers, we've got JaTavion Clowney listed as DNP with a not injury related / knee. So I guess his knee was tired. I don't know. JaTavion Sanders with a neck limited, Josie Jewell with a hamstring limited, Caleb Farley shoulder limited, and DJ Wanham knee limited. I feel like the DJ Wanham one is just preventive, right?
Yeah.
And then Nick Scott, Jalen Coker, both listed as full participants in practice. So that's assuming that's the whole list, that's a much better list than what we've seen over the past few weeks. Seems like this team's finally getting healthy.
Yeah, I mean,
yeah, go ahead.
I was gonna say, yeah, it's not a laundry list here, which is very, very nice.
I mean, certainly like what we saw last year, and then even what we've seen a few times this year, where it's like you have to page down to continue looking at the injury reports. For the Eagles, so the weird thing, the Panthers website does have the Eagles injury report up, just not the Panthers injury report up. Don't know why that is.
They have better sources in the Eagles organization.
So. Somebody fat fingered something. So for the Eagles, we're gonna go with the DNPs first: Reed Blankenship, Sidney Brown, Britton Covey, and Dallas Goedert with a knee. Limited practice: Saquon for rest.
Boo! No, I'm joking.
Becton rest. Jalen Carter rest. Darius Slay with a concussion, Josh Sweat rest, and Johnny Wilson hamstring. And then full practice is Devontae Smith. So big names on there, but other than I don't really know much about Goddard. It says a knee. I don't know what his realistic chances for playing are.
The one you got to look at is Saquon Barkley. It's rest.
Yeah, but he's rest. He's fine.
Exactly.
Goddard looks like week to week, so I think there's a good chance he doesn't play. Which
does it change?
Nice for the Panthers. I think he's a good.
I think he's a good tight end. I'm not knocking him as a tight end. I'm just saying.
Yeah. I don't know if if the Panthers suddenly should be favorites, but any little bit's going to help against this team. Is all I'm saying, Jerry.
Yeah. Now that we have gone over what limited injury report we have, it's time for our favorite segment. Gambling for the children.
I love that you sing it every time.
Yeah, why not? I mean, it's so... Yeah.
It's so great.
Nice.
It's for the kids.
It's for the kids. It's all harmonic. Yeah, that's not a word.
I don't even know what word you were trying to say.
Like a harmony and like something else, and it just, harmonic.
Harmonic. Yeah, okay. So... I'll run over the kind of the high level ones, and you can get into the weeds if you want. The Panthers are a 13-point underdog here in this game. This is at Philly, one of the rare games late in the season the Panthers are not at home. I think they have like 4 out of their 5 games here at home, but yeah, 13-point underdog against Philly.
12.5 on our.
Okay, I'm just looking at ESPN bet. So 12.5, 13 points. That seems high. I mean, Philly's really good, and we're not. But
I was gonna say that
we've played such good football the last couple of weeks. I'm just surprised.
The problem is we played good football, but our run defense has been god awful, and they have the best running back in the league right now, playing at
a great running system.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. The over-under is 46, and it's like, I don't know. And they have a great defense, too.
They have a very good defense. Yeah, I mean, they're a very good overall team. And, just for some reason, I never feel like they're, Super Bowl favorites or Super Bowl contenders, really, even. I don't know about their head coach in terms of being a Super Bowl winning head coach, but they're playing really well this year. Um, you got Saquon has 1,500 rushing yards already.
Dude, he's a beast.
He's insane. That's
I wonder. I
ridiculous.
wonder if Saquon will send a fruit basket to the Giants GM because he should. Especially if he gets 2,000 yards as a FU, that would definitely be my go-to move.
Yeah, he's already passed his career high in rushing in 12 games. And yeah, that's 6.1 yards per carry through 246 carries. 6.1 yards per carry, 11 touchdowns already. And you add another 267 receiving yards and a couple of touchdowns on top of that. Like he's just having one of those seasons.
No, one of the
One
best
of those
seasons,
insane seasons.
best
Yeah.
seasons of
He'll
all time, probably.
potentially get to 2,000 rushing yards. He could get there this week.
Yeah. That's
Yeah.
actually, we are still on the gambling for the children
Yeah.
segment. And that's honestly where I was going to go. Saquon Barkley, if you get over 120 yards, you get plus 100. I don't.
That's it.
I'm sorry. It's going to happen.
Total yards or just rushing yards?
Rushing yards. We give up 160 rushing yards per game.
I know. Yeah, I know. But don't you think that this is the game that they're going to stack the box? Like they're just going to do everything they can not to let Saquon beat them by himself.
That's all nice and fun.
It just doesn't feel
dandy.
like very good value. It doesn't feel like good value to me.
What
120 yards for plus 100.
Okay.
That's just even odds.
So, their defense is so good though. What are you looking for?
I don't like anything in this game.
I don't either, honestly.
I don't like anything in this game. I could see the Panthers, making it like a 10-point game or something.
I could go the spread for the Panthers on 12.5.
Yeah.
I'm willing to do that for $5. I don't want to waste the kids' money.
I was gonna say I could also see this being, just a massive blowout.
Yeah, I mean with that,
just because our defense is so bad.
So bad.
But is Philly's defense that much better than KC's? I guess it probably is.
Or
right?
Tampa Bay. I mean, Tampa Bay's got a really good defense too. Let me look
I
quick
think
on some
Tampa.
stats.
No, Tampa was pretty low in the defensive rankings. Philly's number 1 in yards, right? That's kind of the metric is yards per game. They're number 1 there. They're number 4 in passing yard defense. Actually, number 3, excuse me, in passing yard defense. And then in rushing defense, they're number 7. So overall, a very good defensive team. And then, of course, in offense, they're right up there with the best. So,
all right. So 12.5. We'll take the Panthers.
Let's take the Panthers to cover. Yeah, I think that feels like the best.
All right.
Because I mean, I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe that's stupid.
I did make a bet with the children's money. I figured worst case scenario, I'll just throw the money into the account because it's the only betting account I have. And I won them like $30 yesterday. So we're up to like $141.
What did you bet?
I did a parlay and I teased it a little bit and I got it.
Oh, okay.
It was last week.
On the Monday night game?
No, it was the Panthers, a couple other games. It wasn't it wasn't a big risk, and I was like,
yeah.
I bet $10. I was like, you know what? If I lose, I'll just throw in 10 extra bucks. I'm not gonna cheat the kids, but if they win it, they win it. That was my thought.
For the kids. As long as you keep the kids first in your thoughts.
Hey, like I said, I wanted to bet, but I didn't want, like I said, I was like, well, I don't want to open up another account right now and stuff because everything in here has been for the kids. So,
right. Yeah, I mean, I am hoping that the Panthers can at least keep this close, or maybe close going into the fourth quarter or something like that. Let's not make this one of those games where at halftime you want to turn it off.
Yeah, and they haven't been doing that, and they've been sticking around. And they've had a good resolve of fighting back, even though they could have rolled over. Last week was an example.
Yeah. It's been over a month since we've had a game that was just a bad game to watch.
Yeah.
Right? It's been over a month.
Eh,
So, assuming this is the new Panthers, like this should be a pretty competitive game for the Panthers.
yeah, we're not expecting them to go out and really win this game, but we are hoping that it's not a blowout. Now, they show some strength, that they show some promise. I'm really
Yeah.
hoping Bryce continues his upward trajectory. Yes, I don't think his stats are going to be great, but I'm also hoping he doesn't turn the ball over. I'm hoping he
Yeah.
continues to do what he has done, taking care of the ball, making smart plays with the ball, like anticipating throws, seeing the blitzes come and get the ball out quickly, even if he's throwing it away.
Yeah. Well, and that's what he's been good at, right? He's
Mm-hmm.
been good at that over the last, especially the last couple of weeks. But I think it's been what 3 games since he's thrown an interception,
Knock
so
on wood.
he's taking care of the ball. He's getting Coker back. He's getting Sanders back this week. He should have a full complement of pass catchers available to him this week. Plenty of, targets to throw to. I do hope that the Panthers can find a way to get Chuba more involved this week. Like I would like to see Chuba with, 15 to 20 rushes. And I'd like to see Jonathan Brooks with 5 to 10 rushes. I think
Yes.
that guy showed a couple of things last week. He had a couple of electric plays, so would like to see some more of him as well. You know, I hope that this is not going to be one of those things where Brooks is kind of always that guy who's just kind of getting those Miles Sanders touches, just
Yeah.
like 5 to 7 a
I
game.
don't think they picked him in the second round for that.
I don't think they realized what they had in Chuba when they picked Jonathan Brooks.
Oh, I don't either.
Like I don't if they could go back in time, I think they might make a different decision. As much as I think Jonathan Brooks could be really good, there's no way that they knew what they had in Chuba and then they would spend a second round pick on another running back, right? Like that good
Mm-hmm.
teams don't do that. So,
No, I that's
but I do hope they find a way to use Jonathan Brooks.
I think they should, and I think they will. I think you have to with what you did there. I mean,
Yeah.
spending that money.
Yeah.
Sorry, some reason I couldn't do
Draft pick.
the
Yeah.
DraftKings via whatchamacallit, so I had to do it on my phone.
Oh, okay. Well, that's fine. That's fine. Uh
It's for the
okay,
children.
well, it's for the children. Anything else kind of that you want to discuss about this game here?
This is a game I haven't been looking forward to.
Yeah, this could be a tough one. This
Yeah,
could be a tough one.
Saquon is playing at another unhuman like level. We have the worst defense or run defense in the league, and when I say worst run defense in the league, I'm saying of all time. I think right now they're giving up
Yeah.
10 more yards than the worst run defense of all time per game. That's insane. Per game, giving up 10 more yards.
Yeah. It's been tough. It's been tough to watch. But, again, so they get some big injuries there, that big guys they were counting on to be run stoppers. So hopefully next year won't be quite as bad. But, after the Eagles, it gets a little easier with the Cowboys. Not a good team. Not a great running
Yeah,
game.
I'm excited for that game.
That's a game I feel like the Panthers have an opportunity with. And the Cardinals are coming here. Panthers always play the Cardinals well. Always.
I think the Cardinals are a good team, but I also think that is a winnable game. I use in quotation marks. I don't
Mm-hmm.
expect them to win, but I think just like the Bucks game, I think that their roster's prime to be
Yeah.
beaten. So
Yeah, I mean this is it, and again we're looking at this as if this is not the 3-9 team. This is the 2-1 team, right? Or the 2-2
or
team that we've
1
seen
and
the
2,
last
yeah.
month.
Yeah.
Like this is the good version of this team. And then you got the Bucks and the Falcons. Both games I think that are quite winnable. Obviously, we just saw the Bucks. We could have beaten them, should have beaten them, and then the Falcons. Who knows what's going on with that team right now? They could be Michael Penis very easily
Penix?
in that game. No, I said what I said. So
that right
Could
there,
be-
I'm cutting it.
could very easily be that guy in that game. So yeah, that I could. I mean, there's potentially like 3 wins left in this season. All things work out well.
Yeah.
This could be a 6-win team, which would be right in line with our projections.
Yeah, which would be crazy at the way of the start, but
Yeah, it really would. I mean, that would mean that they would have to win 3 of their last 5, which would be, that upward trajectory we've been looking for the last several years. to prove that they made the right decision with the coach, right? And that the quarterback is someone that we can continue to move forward with.
So if they win 3 out of the last 5, we need to put something on the line.
Okay.
If they win 3 out of the 5, what should we do? Actually, what we'll ask the fans. Give us some suggestions. We're not going to do anything illegal. We're both
not going to eat anything weird.
Yeah.
I'm not going to eat anything weird.
I'm not going to eat anything weird. Well, I mean,
maybe we do like a live podcast where we just get drunk.
So I don't know.
Get drunk and just like
whoever
have fun.
has your ideas. Maybe it's us running a 50-yard dash and seeing how fast we could do. I don't know.
God, I'm gonna need some time to train.
No, that's gonna be the funny part at our 7-second
the field goal competition.
Something like that.
Do the field goal competition, yeah.
So
yeah, let us know. Know.
Send us at mailbag@meowmixpodcast.com. So yeah, send us that. Yeah. Any last thought? Oh, we got to do our predictions.
Let's do our predictions. Yeah, right. Let's do our predictions. Let's do bold predictions first. I'm gonna say that JaTavion Sanders has his first 100-yard game of his career. His first game back. I think he's perfectly healthy, and he's gonna go out there and light it up.
I think this is gonna be a two-headed monster this week for the Panthers. I think Brooks and Chuba go insane. I think they have close to I'll say 200 yards total offense together.
That would be out of character for the defense of the Eagles, but hey, I would love to see it.
Yeah, me too. But I just it's a bold prediction. That's why I'm throwing it out there because I do think that bold. They're gonna show that they have something special between those two.
That would be cool. It'd be great to see them both used, in a way that is beneficial to the team, right? And to themselves. Okay, well, what's your score prediction?
With that being said, I think Carolina loses 24-33.
I was going to say 34-24.
Yeah.
So we're both right there. And we would both beat the spread, so that's important.
Yes, considering that's what we put money on.
Yes. All right. Well, I think that's going to do it.
All right. We want to thank everyone for listening. If you like the show, please let your friends know. Please follow us on Twitter at MeowMix Podcast. If you have any questions or comments, you can email us at mailbag@meowmixpodcast.com. If you leave us a 5-star review with a comment on Apple Podcasts, we'll read it on the show. Please like and subscribe on YouTube. Oh, check out our shop at, just check the links.
Yeah, check the podcast description, check the YouTube description. The link for the t-shirt shop will be there. Also, we gotta get together. I gotta give you some of this stuff from our other sponsor that we will probably start next week. But anyway, that's behind the scenes stuff there. We'll be back hopefully Sunday. If this is like a 30-point blowout, we're not going to be back Sunday.
Yeah.
But if it's a close game and a game that we feel like we have some positive things to talk about, we will definitely be back. If not, then we'll be back middle of the week. But we hope to see you guys Sunday, excuse me. And until then, everybody stay safe out there and keep pounding.